everyone, I am Amanda from Mandy, Lynn Plans. Welcome back to another 2025 planner unboxing. Today I have the plans to unbox by Just Scribble. Siobhan and I have been planner friends for several years. She's a member of our PR team and it is so exciting for me to see her launch her very own planner. Alright, so here I have two A5 planners. I have the horizontal and the vertical. There's a little envelope here of goodies. So there are a couple of stickers. So these are very fun. A little pencil with a scribble mark and then two fountain pens. And then also the pencil. This one is like a holographic one. And then also her business card. So here's where you can find all of her goodies. So shop.justscribble.com, and then where you can find her on Instagram and YouTube. And I have the two book system, so volume 1 and volume 2 for each of the horizontal and the vertical. So 4 planners. I absolutely love the two book system. It's similar to the Hobonichi Cousin Avec, where it's split up into 2 books, and I love that so much. Each little book is much more portable. It chunks up better, I think, without getting too super chunky if you use stickers, only 6 months at a time instead of all 12. So here I have the vertical volume 1 and volume 2. On the end, it does have the rose gold foiling. It's kind of punched in, embossed, I think is the correct word. 2025 volume 1 and then volume 2. The outside is the same, so same color of cover and everything. Down at the bottom, it does say volume 1, volume 2. And then on the back, designed by Just Scribble. I would like to do a side-by-side comparison with you for the vertical and the horizontal. But first, the yearly and monthlies are going to be the same. So we're going to just look at the vertical one. Here you can see it is the one with my plans. As a title page, there is a spot for your key down at the bottom. This is Tomoe River paper. I did fail to mention that at the beginning. Here we have your 2025 year at a glance, nice and big, no problems reading it at all. The font is a very nice shade. It's not too dark, it's not black, but it's not super faint gray either. So I love how much it stands out. All right, so here, since this is the volume 1, she has given you July, August, September, and October kind of as a future glance, since this book only contains January to June. So that's really nice as a little future planning log. And then in volume 2, you have 2026. You have January, February, March, and April. So a little bit of future planning for you in this book as well. And I am noticing that there are page numbers at the bottom, so if you need to keep track of your pages in an index somewhere, you can do that. Then we flip to the yearly index. So here we have Q1 on the left side, Q2 on the right side. You have just a simple date running down the page, spaces for you to put some notes, some important days in the month. So since this is volume 1, you have January to June. In volume 2, you would have July to December. Then we have a completely blank page, no grid or anything. And then we have the 2025 page. You could use this as a vision board if you wanted. There are some faint boxes and grid spaces for you to be able to kind of keep things together if you would like to use, but they're very faint. If you don't want to follow that guideline, you don't have to. Then we have some goal pages. So we have annual, goals, and then we get into the quarterlies. These are laid out the same way as these other pages where it's completely blank and then just some really faint squares and grids for you. So we have that for the first quarter, and then again you have the squares for your quarter 1 and goals. Then you have some monthly tracker pages. So since this is in the quarter 1 section, we have January, February, March, and then a grid page where you can put additional things for your Q1 planning. And then we have a Q1 where you have the calendar on the left and then a blank space with a header on the right for you to be able to track whatever you need for Q1. So one thing I'm noticing that's different from other planners that I've seen like this, where they have quarterly or tracker pages, they give them all to you for the whole entire year or 6 months at a time. Everything is set up in quarters here. So this section of this planner is all Q1. So you won't see anything for Q2 until after everything for Q1. So then we have our January, kind of like an overview or review type page. And then we have the monthly spread. Very minimal, no shading at all, just very nice light gray grids and then slightly darker gray outlines of each day. We do have a Monday start calendar, which I have grown to love, a sidebar, a bottom section where I assume that she will be able to stick that 6th row down at the bottom if we ever need it. That space is a little smaller, but it's better to me to have a smaller 6th row than to slash this box in half. So it's great to see that she has that down at the bottom. And then we have week 1, week 2, week 3, etc. And a light shading here for January. If you're just flipping through, you can see the shading on the side. Here you can see the little different notches for each month. Then we have 2 grid spaces. I will also mention that there is a dark shaded middle grid here if you want to use that to section your grid pages however you need. And then we have our weekly. So similar to how I said everything for Q1 is towards the beginning, then we have everything for January. So we don't have all the monthlies together and then all the weeklies together. We have everything kind of shuffled in. So we have the monthly and then we have our weekly page before turning to the daily pages. So here you will see the daily pages for every day of the week. And again, we have that same shading. We have the day of the week and the date. And again, we still have our numbered pages down at the bottom before flipping to the weekly spread for week 2. And then it's going to follow the same format. We have the daily pages in between the weekly pages. And then when we get to the end of the month, let's see how it transitions to February. So here, this is still part of that last month. Then we have a January recap page where your squares are at the bottom and the top part is grid. And then your February kind of an overview, your squares are at the top and then the next part is grid. And then we flip to the February monthly and then we're gonna do the same spreads. So we have the weekly followed by the dailies, another weekly for week 7 followed by the dailies. It's going to be like this all the way through March, and March is the end of Q1. So once we flip to the end of March, we have a March recap, just like January and February, and then we have a Q1 recap, which is unique and a great way for you to kind of put everything down. How did Q1 go for you before turning and having the same spreads and everything for Q2. That's going to follow the same format and the same order throughout Q2. We have the quarter 2 recap, and then we have some notes pages back at the back. So this starts on page 339, and it will go till 381. So a good amount of notes pages, more than I have seen in other books that are similar where they give you maybe 4 or 6 notes pages. So a good chunk. And then we have to be continued. I love the theming throughout, the one with the plans, to be continued. And then don't forget to just scribble. Volume 2 is going to follow that same order, the same progression for Q3 and Q4. And I want to see if we have a whole year recap at the end. So let's take a look. We have our December recap for the month, quarter 4 recap for the last quarter, and then yes, we have a 2025 recap the whole entire year. And then again, those notes pages at the end, and she has the end at the end. Very nice. I'm excited, and I'm so excited that I got distracted and I was supposed to compare the horizontal versus the vertical. So let's do that now. Let's flip to a vertical weekly so that I can show you the differences. So here you have a very standard vertical weekly spread. The horizontal, you have your short, it's like a half page horizontal with a blank grid spot. You have a place for your focus, your priorities. This part is grid, and then there's a spot for some habit trackers down at the bottom. And then you get into your daily pages. And there is a difference here in the daily pages. She does give you an hourly timeline on the horizontal daily pages because the vertical has the hourly timeline in the weekly spread. So the daily page does not include the timeline on the vertical option, but it is included here in the horizontal. I think a very thoughtful inclusion here in the daily pages. Other than those 2 changes, everything else is going to be the same. The monthly spreads are the same. The overview and recap pages are the same. And the outside aesthetic is also the same. I am so excited for you, Siobhan. Way to go on releasing your very own planner. It was so much fun to see it all come together with the sneaks that you were posting. And yes, of course, we will be making stickers for the Just Scribble plans. A5 and A6 to come. Let me know if you have one down in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.